read to you a little bit of history.
I want to read to you a little bit of history.
All right. I have courage.
I have courage.
My dignity in the face of unprovoked violence.
My dignity in the face of unprovoked violence.
By the insatiable adherence to principles of the students on campus.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome.
By the insatiable adherence to principles of the students on campus.
By the insatiable adherence. Just read it.
We've shown ourselves guilty of one thing, of passionately entering into a conspiracy to uphold the First and 14th Amendments. That was Mario Savio on October 16, 1964, right here on the steps of Sproul Plaza, as he stood up against the exact same forces that are perverting his message to instill fascism in the United States. They have perverted the message of free speech and Mario Savio to sell this garbage and ignorant, ill-informed fear and hatred. By our courage!
By our courage!
By dignity in the face of unprovoked violence!
By dignity in the face of unprovoked violence!
By the insatiable adherence to the principles of the students on campus!
By the insatiable adherence of the principles of the students on campus!
We've shown ourselves guilty of one thing!
We show ourselves guilty of one thing!
Of passionately entering into a conspiracy to uphold the First and 14th Amendment! Mario Savio, October 16, 1964, right here on the steps of Sproul Hall.
Hey, this is Punker Mike. Welcome to Punks for Progress Weekly What the Fuck Report. This is my partner, Reverend Aaron. What's happening, brother?
Hey, bro, what's happening?
Dude, seriously, I mean, there's so much that's happening, and there's so much that has happened, and we can barely keep up with it all. You've been busy as hell. I've been busy as hell.
A lot going on. So, and we're going to cover a lot of it. So, let's see. On this week's weekly What the Fuck report, which has the last 2 months been the monthly What the Fuck report.
I think we knocked one out a couple weeks ago, didn't we? Maybe not.
I think we're getting close to a month. But there's been a lot going on, like Fascist Week, which we're going to talk about. So, on today's show, we're going to talk about all this crap with Trump and Tillerson calling him a fucking moron. What Trump said at the UN and all this kind of shit. So, we're going to cover that. We're going to talk about Trump decertifying the Iran deal. We're going to talk about Trump throwing paper towels at hurricane victims.
Oh, my God.
We're going to cover a lot about Vegas. And of course, we're going to talk a lot about and we'll be spending a lot of time on Vegas today, but of course. But we're also going to give you a rundown on what happened during Milo's Free Speech Week, because I was there for all of it. I'm sure our regular followers seen all the videos, live streamed from all of it, and there was different other videos and different things that went on. So we're going to talk about that, and I believe that's the vast majority of what we're going to be talking about today. So why don't we?
Let's play a public service announcement, shall we?
And then we got another little video we put together with the in sort of collaboration with Reich-Wing Watch about Infowars' response to the Vegas shooting. So we'll show those, and then we'll come back and we will get into it.
Climate change and widening inequality are not two separate issues. They're intimately connected, and there's at least one solution to both. The people who are bearing the brunt of climate change here and around the world are the poor and working class, who live in areas increasingly prone to flooding, who rely on croplands susceptible to ever more frequent droughts, who depend on outdated water and sewage systems and older roadways and power grids that are falling apart under the strains of more severe weather, who live in fragile structures particularly vulnerable to intensifying hurricanes and violent storms, whose health is especially compromised by airborne contaminants, infections, and other diseases that are accompanying climate change. So what do we do? You often hear that reversing climate change will mean fewer jobs, especially for the poor and working class, the very people who are bearing the biggest burden from climate change, but that's not true. Clean energy, powered by wind or solar cells or water, is growing fast, even as the old fossil fuel industries decline and generate fewer jobs. More than 3 times as many people are already employed generating electricity from solar and wind than from coal, oil, and gas combined. Wind turbine technician is our country's fastest growing occupation. This transition to renewables is inevitable, in part because of the so-called beautiful math of solar power. Every time the world's solar power doubles, the cost of panels falls 26%. This has led to a 99% decline in the cost of solar modules since 1976, and an 80% decline since 2008 alone. Donald Trump and his Republican enablers are afraid of clean energy because it puts power, literally and figuratively, back into the hands of people and communities. Their attacks on science and on health protections are just efforts to maintain billions of dollars in unjust profits and corporate giveaways for the barons of oil, gas, and coal, and to undermine the urgency and speed of a transition already underway. We must not let them. Reversing both climate change and inequality can be a win-win proposition.
Is lying. FBI HRT did the hit on the guy, and they found Antifa information in the room. And it was Antifa crap everywhere.
Another tragedy, another opportunity for the alt-right to spread their neo-fascist agenda within the right-wing echo chamber, and Facebook and Google have helped promote these baseless conspiracy theories. This morning, Monday, October 2nd, some of Google's top promoted stories were threads from 4chan, which is the social media site of choice by neo-Nazis and anti-Semitic conspiracy theorists. The threads deliberately misidentify the suspect responsible for the Las Vegas shooting as Gary Danley, then showing he was a fan of Rachel Maddow and MoveOn.org. The Gateway Pundit, which is a far-right website granted credentials by the mental midget in the White House, also spread this conspiracy theory. One of the 4chan threads urges its readers to, quote, push the idea that this terrorist was a commie on all of their social media accounts.
No, guys, this is the face of communism. This is communism, guys. Infowars.com.
And that's precisely what right-wingers did without any evidence whatsoever Gary Danley was the shooter. They set up an innocent man without hesitation just to make a political point. The real shooter is 64-year-old Stephen Paddock, and the motive is unknown at this time. Performance artist Alex Jones of Infowars, who is ever so quick to spread fascist propaganda, claimed this was the beginning of, quote, a a second Bolshevik revolution, and that the concert goers were targeted because they represent, quote, traditional America.
This is communism, guys. Infowars.com. Hands up, don't shoot. Hands up, don't shoot. Discrimination. I don't want to get assaulted. This is discrimination. Discrimination right here.
Vote the door. Vote the door.
Hey.
Vote the door.
You commies are murderers. Murderers. 100 million. 100 million murders.
To put a cherry on top of the cake, a fake right-wing run Antifa page on Facebook took responsibility for the shooting, prompting right-wingers to vigorously spread fake news about Antifa being responsible all over the internet. Fascist conspiracy theories at 4chan should not be popping up as promoted news sources in any Google search.
Hitler did not yet control Germany. But in 2 weeks, that would change. The morning of February the 28th, 1933, if you lived in Berlin, you would have woken to this. During the night, someone had set fire to the Reichstag, Germany's parliament.
The middle class had been repelled by the roughness and lack of polish of the Nazis. Now, they've been frightened and won over by the Reichstag fire.
To this day, no one is certain who set the fire that destroyed the Reichstag. But Hitler knew who he would blame. His rivals, the communists. The Nazi press claimed that the Reichstag fire was intended as a signal for communist cells across Germany to rise up and revolt. Hitler had invented a communist threat. Now he would use it to crush his opposition.
First they came for the communists.
What are you gonna do? You little fucking pussy. Come on, do something. This is what fascism looks like. We're gonna come and get all the fucking communists.
No more commies! 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 No more commies!
Cafes, wherever you hang out and you spill communist literature, we're coming to the fucking bookstore near you. No more communism.
What about the First Amendment? And also
no
Milo's book.
Communism is against the law. It's still in our United States. It is against the law to be an open communist in this country. Look up the fucking laws. It is against the law to have communism in this country.
Well, we're back, and yeah.
So we'll get back into the kind of content of that video.
Yeah, there's some stuff I could say about that. That was interesting, dude. Thanks for doing that. That was really cool, and that was in collaboration with our friends from Reich-Wing.
Reich-Wing Watch. Yeah, I mean that's just video. Basically, what it is, I mean, I just made the video and I used some of Reich-Wing Watch's footage, is what I did. But we are in communication with them. They actually just posted one of our videos. But again, we'll get back into that later, and we definitely are going to talk more about that video.
Right off the let's GOP tried to repeal Obamacare and fucking blew it.
What the fuck?
What the fuck? Well, Senate GOP tried to repeal Obamacare again. Couldn't get enough votes. McCain pulled out again, so they fucking scrapped it and threw it away. So since they didn't pull it off by September 30th, apparently it looks like they're not going to be able to do it with a 51% majority. So now they have to have 60 votes in order to pass their shit. So anyway, Obamacare is alive and well, and it is not in a death spiral. And now we just need to fix it and get rid of it and get in Medicare for all. So moving on to the next topic.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to, just before we do, make sure we clarify that please don't give love to John McCain for having been the guy.
He wasn't the guy. He was one guy. Murkowski
but,
held out, and Collins was still holding out, and I think there was some other dude that was still holding out. I got to give props. The Democrats didn't fucking buckle because, you know, they will totally make deals. Oh, yeah, come and talk to us and have dinner, and yeah, we'll give us DACA and we'll let you build a fucking wall. So, I mean, yeah, anyway. They didn't cave. They didn't cave this time. No, McCain was not the guy that came in and gave the dramatic thumbs down. But you know what, motherfucker? I mean, come on. He's got brain cancer, and he's using Obamacare to get rid of his brain cancer.
Yeah, he deserves brain.
I know. I you know what's sad is this administration is so bad that it makes John McCain look good.
I know, and that's just why I couldn't let it go by without making sure that people, you just be clear.
We're not on the John McCain train.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's not be praising on John McCain, but I'm just saying this administration is so bad it's making even him look good.
Right. All right. That's enough of that horrible shit. Let's get in. Let's get into the horrible.
That was fun though.
Yeah. So we got this whole fiasco with Trump and Tillerson, right, and North Korea and all this stuff. So let's kind of break that down. So, I mean, it starts with
Trump was at the UN, I guess, was a couple weeks ago, and he got up there and he called Little Kim. He called him Rocket Man, and you could just see like Tillerson like shaking his head, going, "Oh my God, I can't believe he did that." Same with his chief of staff now.
Well, I wonder about that because, I mean, the buzz about town is that's kind of a very what is it? Steve Miller, is that his name? The goddamn other white supremacist that does a lot of his speech writing. Anyway, the word is because what did he say specifically about North Korea? He said, what is it? I can't remember now because it's been like 45 years in Trump time, which is 2 weeks. What did he say? Completely wipe them off the map, or completely destroy?
No, he said he would. He would destroy. I don't know exact words, but he basically said he would destroy 25 million people. Yeah, he'd blow up North Korea. We'll just blow you up.
And so the people who really the big time like administration wonks ascribe that to Miller-esque language, right? So what that tells me is, I mean, obviously that was a pre-planned thing in his speech. So I mean, maybe Tillerson wasn't aware of the speech ahead of time, but I don't know that like they're all that surprised. And it's just, but I think anybody around him, man, has to recognize that he's a total fucking tool bag, man. He's just so incredibly stupid and disconnected from like any type of like reality.
Well, yeah, that's what I think it comes down to, definitely.
And so all these people who are working with him are just trying to manipulate this freaking pig-headed stooge into serving whatever purpose they have, you know? So,
well, it seems like Tillerson had back channels and he was dealing with the North Koreans through, you know, some people that he knew or somehow, but he was, you know, actually trying to do it diplomatically. Because I think he came out that week that Trump said that he was going to blow everybody up and said there's no military solution.
Right.
To North Korea, and I think he was backed up by generals and so forth. Other people came out and said, yeah, that's true. So it's the politics of conflict.
Right, and when he did that...
crisis,
you know,
politics of crisis.
Each step of this way, along the way, you know, Trump is like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like he said, no. You know, and he came out against Tillerson's supposed diplomatic efforts. And I'm sorry, I'm skeptical as to whether Tillerson did anything diplomatic at all, unless it was diplomatic that serves the purposes of who did he used to work for, bro? Who did Tillerson used to work for?
Oh yeah, well, ExxonMobil.
ExxonMobil, yeah. So just, you know, let's just keep that in the freaking locker.
Oh no, that's always up there. However, right. I don't think he wants to see if you know, maybe it's selfish reasons, his family or his friends be blown up by a nuclear war.
Well, and he's not military.
Nobody wins a nucler war, bro.
Right, and he's not military industrial complex. You know what I mean?
No,
he's not, and he's not also he's not going to be he's oil, so he's not involved in like reconstruction stuff. You know what I mean? Because when you annihilate places, the reason that like
Halliburton.
Right, and that's why these big countries or big companies love these massive devastations and annihilations is because they get paid to go in and fix it and rebuild it.
And let's talk about the politics of crisis. When there's crisis, it allows these fascists to come in and remove our civil liberties and our rights.
That's right. That's right.
And take away our fucking rights in the name of this crisis, whatever it is. It happened at 9/11. Right, and they're trying to create a crisis. That's what they're trying to do. Now they've moved on to Iran. Talk today is him decertifying the Iranian deal. He's trying so hard for those guys to be non-compliant, and they're not. They're completely compliant.
And which he, as everyone keeps saying, reluctantly signed off already, Trump. Reluctantly signed off on the fact that they have been in 100% compliant with
Right, that was a few weeks ago.
About that for a minute, because every single fucking talking head on the right, Fox News, all the fucking things was like, you liberals are so daft and delusional if you think that Iran is ever going to do anything to keep this deal, blah, 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 blah. And they did. So you're all fucking wrong. Like repeatedly, as always. You know, and that's another thing too.
And you understand why it's important for Iran to keep this deal, right?
Well, explain.
Our sanctions crushed their economy.
And so that's
why
just
they
like
want that. They're doing what they can to keep.
It's not like, oh, we're just going to stop doing this other stuff. It's we're going to, what it means is what we're going to do is take proactive action against them. It means putting sanctions on fucking Iran. That's what we're going to do. It's not like, oh, we're just not going to be a part of this deal. You guys go have your deal over there. It's that means because that's what the Iran deal did. If we pull out of the Iran deal, then that means that the sanctions are imposed back on Iran.
Well, right, exactly. And you know what else is the right wing screaming about is that money that Obama gave them back. Right. Their money. And it's like, you guys don't get it. I don't know how many times I've had to tell people, I'm the stupidest fucking punk rocker in the world. And even I know that Iran gave us money for weapons. Right. And then they took us hostages. They threw out the Shah, took us hostages, and we didn't give them the weapons and kept their money. That's what we did. That was their money that Obama gave back to them. And that was because of the Iran deal. We didn't pay them off. Anyway.
Yeah, and other countries. Well,
they want a war, dude, and they want to wrap up the military-industrial complex.
Maybe
they're already selling a grip of weapons to Saudi Arabia and funding the war in Yemen.
Okay, well, we can talk about that, but let me stop because look, what I think it is as far as Trump is concerned, is like he just said this all of them. He fucking, when the Iran deal happened, he was super, super vocal against it and like all this like, over the top language about how horrible it was, and he campaigned hard on it. And it's like, okay, now I'm going to do this, and he doesn't understand it. I guarantee you that frickin' moron has never even read anything that's in the Iran deal. I'll guarantee he's never even read one page of it.
What makes you think his followers have? They don't know anything about this thing either. Oh, we're just going to trust Iran that they're not going to make a nuclear weapon?
Right. Like that's what the Iran deal was to them.
Yeah, they know nothing about the Iran deal.
I'll give you a bunch of money if you don't make a nuke. Like that is not what the Iran deal is. And that's the way it's portrayed. It's just so all of these type of massive international deals they're so complex, man. And they want and the right always like this conservative kind of inclination is always, what's the easy solution? We need the quickest right now, quick solution, simple. What's the common sense thing we got to do? And it's like the common sense thing is you got to fucking shut the fuck up, do your homework, study this thing, actually understand it, and then maybe contribute something to the discourse. But Trump doesn't do any of that, and now he's like further throwing the international community out of whack because he said some shit that now he has to back up. And so it's always you gotta like always remember.
Does the international community even take him seriously anymore? He said so much bullshit. We just had the anniversary. We just had the anniversary of the Access Hollywood tapes. Was it yesterday? It's been a year since those came out.
Right. So, but here, no, of course they have to take him seriously because he's the president and he can back the shit he says, right? So they have to take it seriously. But of course they don't take him seriously. Now, here's the point I was going to make is that you always have to keep in mind when dealing with Trump that there's two sides to it. There's always two elements at play. One is Trump's just insanely ignorant narcissism and doing everything motivated for what can be good for him and him only. And then the second part that's at play is the various different entities behind the scenes that manipulate him, whether it's the military-industrial complex, whether it's, you know, all the different special interest groups, and who's essentially the last special interest group in the room with him, right? So his freaking narcissistic tirades about Iran might be useful to the military-industrial complex, but it may not be as useful to like Rex Tillerson and other people. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like Big Pharma doesn't care about the Iran deal. They're concerned, you know, so.
No, yeah, they're more concerned with what's going on in Afghanistan, but.
Right. And this is a big mistake that conspiracy theorists make. And all those years I studied all the Alex Jones and Templars and Freemasonry and Illuminati and Madame Blavatsky and all this kind of stuff. And I dived into all that stuff for like 10 years. There's this idea that all of it, all the nefarious evil in the world can be confined into this one unified body of people who are sort of all in agreement and plugging forward minute after minute, you know, singular agenda moving forward of this new world order thing. And it just doesn't work that way. And that was one of the things that I always had a problem with that world. It's like, I don't know, man. I think that these people kind of don't get along and stuff and hate each other. And then so there's some conspiracy theorists who understand that very wealthy capitalists and stuff do have differences and do wrangle against each other and they can even hate each other, but they all still want the new world order. Well, that's not what it is. It's they all have their own special interests, where they're all still individuals and humans or collective groups of humans that have their own specific individual interests, but they have things in common, which is let's subjugate masses of humanity and make them serve our purposes. Let's enslave humanity and then they can fight amongst each other. But so again, it's a recurring theme that I always feel like I'm droning on endlessly about, that nothing is ever simple. There's always so much complexity and nuance to every single one of these things that's going on and the different factors that are at play. And so to get caught up in these very simplistic ideas, things like Alex Jones pushes and these other people, it's fucking lazy. It's fucking lazy. You don't want to take the time to understand all the complex nuances of a situation, and you want it all explained to you in a bumper sticker. And that's such a dangerous way of thinking.
Yeah, but I consider myself lazy.
I mean, you're not I mean, yeah, there's a difference between frickin' a dude who just wants to, smoke pot and chill after a hard day's work and someone who doesn't take the time.
Yeah, but I mean, I haven't watched all the videos on our channel yet even.
I know. So there's varying degrees, but you're far afield from the people I'm describing. Like, you do take
okay.
time to, if it's something you're interested in, you're going to be really vocal about it. You tend to go find out everything you can about that thing before you run your mouth about it.
Right. Or run my mouth about it and get in trouble and go, oh shit, maybe you should have know your shit before you start running your mouth. Which is usually the way it works for me.
But and as opposed to being reactionary in the moment, and that's another thing that I think is another very serious problem in our culture right now, is that it's like when we hear about a new story, so many of us, left, right, on all sides, we tend to sort of really, our first inclination and our first reaction is to decide where we stand on it. It's as opposed to, that's interesting. What can I find out about this before I make my choice? It's like, I don't know about that shit. Or, told ya.
I tend to agree with you on that, bro. And it's just been recently for me that I've kind of been holding back and reserving my opinion until I find out a little bit more about what's going on, till I hear some other people's opinions who either I value or don't value, or I know at least where they're coming from, either left field, right field, left center, that kind of thing. And then start, once I have a little bit more information and a little bit more opinions, I can generally then go ahead and give you mine and go, I kind of agree with what he said, but I don't agree with that. I agree with what this part of what Mark said, but not what that part of it. And I agree with what Hartman said about it over here, but I definitely don't agree with what Miller said about it. But Jenkhead was pretty right on over here. That kind of a thing.
Right, so. Exactly. Again, there's always subtlety and nuance and complexity to it, and other determining factors you have to take into consideration before formulating a fucking opinion about it. You can't just go, yeah, it's so evident by so much of the trolling on our YouTube channel. It's so obvious that a lot of these people have only read the headline on the video, and then are now giving me 2-3 frickin' paragraphs of opinion about how we're cucks and faggots and murdered 100 million people. But it obviously didn't watch the video. And it's like, and accusing us of all this shit based on whatever notion that they decided instantly when they read the headline of the title of the video.
I just don't understand. Cucks and faggots. What does my sexual orientation have to do with the price of tea in China when it comes to fascism or not fascism? Whether I'm an anarchist, a communist, a New Deal Democrat, or a liberal, or whatever the fuck I am, why does that have anything to do with my sexual orientation? And then what gives you the right to use that slur? To me, that slur is right up there with the N-word.
Yeah.
That's not a word that, we used to throw that around a lot when I was a kid, man. And why? Why would you use that word to degrade somebody?
Well,
what is being a homosexual? Why is that degrading? That's not degrading, and it shouldn't be degrading to anybody, to a man. No. I think it's because, well, then you're not a man. And it's like, right. I'm sorry, I know plenty of homosexuals that are straight up men that are probably more manly than I am. I'm just saying, it's just that word, and what gives you the right to call me that? You don't know me. What if I am, motherfucker?
Right.
It still doesn't give you the right to call me that.
Well, and here's the thing. So I agree wholeheartedly.
Dude, come on find a fucking word to describe. Call me an anarchist bastard or something.
Well, we get called that a lot. But this is what I was going to say about that word too. Is like it was much more commonplace when we were young, and then it kind of dissipated, and it was like we were starting to get somewhere with it, and it was just people weren't doing that anymore, and now it's just like all out freaking.
Well,
it's again. Well, let me finish. So it's like. When growing up when I was young in the early 80s, and you know what it's like, dude, and being a punk rocker, and especially being kind of a skinny, gangly, little awkward punk rock kid like I was, I got called faggot every day. My sophomore year in high school, the entire school called me Hoto. That was my fucking name in high school, Hoto.
Well,
come on. And so I'm not gay. If I was, I would be knee deep in a bucket of dick. I promise. But I'm just not gay. And
probably something a gay person would say.
But I still know what it likes to be called fucking a faggot and beat the fuck up for it, repeatedly. I can't tell you. Michael, dude, there's probably been a dozen times that I've been beat up when I was in high school and shit for being gay, for being Hoto.
Yeah. See, I didn't get beat up because I was bigger, but I was definitely called gay. Come on, listen to my voice. I sound gay. I come off gay.
I know.
I have no problem with my effeminate side, but I'm you've known me. I'm all man. I've never been anything but attracted to women.
Michael and I just kind of came out zero on the Kinsey. That's just how we, that's who we are and whatever. So I guess the last thing
and I've been called that so much it just kind of rolls off my back. It's like,
well, that's what I was going to say too. It's like, you think that that hurts me? If anything, it's just it only hurts because it's so. I just feel sorry for them that they're that pathetic, man, and that they would want to hurt someone by using that word for starters. And but it doesn't. It doesn't hurt me because at my age, man, I have been called faggot. God, dude, it's got to be in the millions. You know, I mean, really.
Well, recently it's been definitely, racking up the points. I mean,
super escalated, and what that is that's because the online message boards and the social media that they're ingesting is totally run and informed by straight up neo-Nazi freaking outlets, man. You know, there's an article that we just posted from BuzzFeed they found all these paperwork and emails and all this messaging and shit, inner workings with Steve Bannon and Milo and shit that proves unquestionably direct ties to neo-Nazis, and that the agenda that Milo and Breitbart were pushing, there's proof of this. Check the article on our Facebook page, that they have been all about singularly normalizing and spreading white nationalism and neo-Nazi ideology in America. What we have been saying, the opposition, what the opposition to Milo has been saying all along, came out and has been proven. Okay, so yes, Milo comes out and he's not some jackboot Nazi thug. He's a twerp troll kid that nobody takes seriously who said some really gross, offensive things. He's an idiot, but that's what he's supposed to do. That's his job, is to play that role so that you don't take him seriously, that you think he's just an idiot, while he's out spreading fascism around the country. And we're going to get back to some very, very significant proof of that later in our show when we talk about Free Speech Week, Fascist Week.
Okay.
But we've gone off on a little bit of tirades, and we almost didn't get to the fact that our president threw paper towels at fucking hurricane victims, at American citizens suffering from a hurricane and dying and suffering.
Yeah. He tossed him paper towels like he was tossing T-shirts at a football game or a basketball game or something. And yeah, he was while people are starving, he's fucking working on his jump shot.
Yeah, here, clean up your hurricane with this roll of Bounty. Like, what the?
Oh my God, what the fuck was that? Okay, wait, and did you know this week in nepotism, we've got the Kushners have been using private emails.
Oh, shit, that's right.
Yep, this week in nepotism.
And, I mean, that's been going on all through the administration, too.
Yeah, and apparently it's not just them, but
and the reason that's significant, is because, lock her up. Lock her up.
And that's the only reason I even bring it up. It's just only to point out the hypocrisy. Okay, Trump supporters, if you fucking listen, because I know you don't, you just, like Aaron said, you just read the title and start commenting on our shit. If you actually listen, we're pointing out the hypocrisy. You yell and scream about this, but it's okay when you do it. How is that right? Whatever.
It's not...
It's hypocritical. That's all it is.
Well, and the thing is too, it's like, we put up a Patreon account, and this is actually the first I've ever mentioned it on air. We actually do have a Patreon.
Oh yeah, we have a Patreon account. Aaron, we have a Patreon account.
But it's we don't have George Soros like forcing us to sell some agenda.
You guys can subscribe to it.
The things on our channel, we're not trying to push some bullshit. We're not out spending our freaking spare time and our free time trying to lie to strangers, man. We do our best to find actual verifiable information, share it to you.
We talk a lot of shit.
But you guys we talk a lot of shit. Yes, we have our opinions as well.
And it's a lot of shit. And that's what it is. And if you haven't figured that out yet, then you should probably go back and listen to some shows.
Right.
Because we're just talking long shit off the side of our neck. However, we're trying to back that up with, the news and information that we're getting and going through more than one source. So, but you know what? We make mistakes. New York Times made a mistake. Trump called them fake news. They actually made a mistake, retracted the story, made an apology, apologized to the dude, which is what you're supposed to do when you fuck up. Because we're humans and we're going to fuck up. We're fucking dumbass punk rockers. We're definitely going to fuck up. I'm a big dumbass. I will definitely fuck up. If I do, point it out to us. Hit us on Twitter. Hit us on the YouTube channel.
I run my mouth a lot, which means I'm probably going to fucking go, oh, shit, I said that garbage? Okay.
Ditto,
so,
right? Don't you love it when they come back to you and go, this is what you said. When the fuck did I say that? Well, right. I don't think that anymore. Jeez, what the fuck was I? Was I drunk?
So, yeah, I mean, but anyway, look at this.
I know.
Off on some environmental stuff, Mike, because Puerto Rico. I mean,
hey, dude, we've got that video. You want to plug that? We don't have to put it in our show.
The Houston thing not exist anymore? Does
No, Houston still exists. Those people are still living in shitty. They're still pulling drywall. I'm sure there's going to be black mold and all kind of shit. But no, we had to move on because this is the politics of crisis. And then what came after Houston? Oh yeah, that's right, Louisiana and New Orleans. No, Florida. Florida got hit after Houston. That's who it was.
Which number of islands got devastated in the same? What was it, Irma that hit Florida?
I think it was Irma. Yes.
Yeah.
And then Jose came through and wiped out. Okay, first of all, Irma, when it came up through and got into Florida, right? The edge of it just kind of skirted Puerto Rico, and just what I mean. It didn't get too bad, but it was breezy. They lost like 80% of their power on the island. Now their island is only 100 miles long by 35 miles wide. That's as big as this island is. Their whole fucking infrastructure, energy infrastructure, is based on petroleum. Because they are a territory of the United States or a colony, they're a fucking colony. You may.
Can I stop you real quick? I just saw something today that Elon Musk tweeted out some shit about converting the entire country to solar energy and shit, and the governor got tweeted him back, hit me up, let's start talking.
Yeah.
It reminded me of talking to another organizing group on Facebook. It was just a trip. And so we'll see. I mean, again, I'm not trying to.
The governor was licking Trump's balls the other day when he was over there. But Trump and the mayor of San Juan had at it. He's calling her lazy. He's calling all the Puerto Ricans lazy. Well, they did this. They owe us a lot of money, and you're fucking up my budget. And did all this shit when he was over there with Milana and her fucking flood heels the other day. But anyway, so Irma skirts through there, wipes out 80% of their electricity. Fucking head-on hit from Jose, and they still don't have electricity on that island. And it's been 2 weeks. Yeah. Jose hit 2 weeks ago. There, I'm repeating myself. You guys heard me the first time. No power. That whole, like I say, that whole infrastructure is based on petroleum. So
what did Trump say to her?
What I was saying, he called her a nasty woman.
Not just that, Michael. He said that Puerto Rico just want people to do shit for them.
Right, and she's the one that's waist deep in
American
water.
citizen.
She's the one that's waist deep in water with a megaphone trying to rescue people during the hurricane.
Well, he fucking throws paper towels at people. It's so fucking disgusting, man. It's so.
Well, let me tell you what else is going on. There's this because it's a colony, a territory of the United States. Only United States ships can get in there. Okay. Well, they have this thing. It's called the Jones Treaty or the Jones Agreement or something like that. That says that only United States ships can port at their harbor. Can pull into their ports without paying a ton of fucking fees for their shit. All right.
Right.
During hurricanes, and Trump did this the administration did this during Houston and Florida, they suspend that for 10 or 12 days so that other countries can dock in our ports with fucking aid and free shit. And it took him a week before they fucking finally suspended that to let these ships that were lined up with supplies, with water and shit for these people to get in there and to dock and bring these supplies to people with no power, with no water. They have no fucking water. It's an island, bro. They live in shacks, man. I tell you, and the surf is good there. I've thought about going there because they speak English and somewhat Spanish, and I'm pretty good with that. And the food's good and the surf's good, and you can live on an island. I've thought about going there myself, but I mean, seriously, man. And so he finally pulled that off. And he's saying, he's going around saying that he's winning and look how good we're doing. And the troops are on the ground and we're all doing so good. And the people are going, what the fuck is he talking about? It's not happening. None of this is going on.
There's nothing good. There's nothing good. There's nothing going good. People are fucking seriously suffering.
See, and the thing is, I don't think he's so fucking stupid, and he really is, bro. I don't think he really understood, at least in the beginning, that those people are American citizens. They're right. American. They're one of the most oppressed American citizens in the country. outside of our country. They do not have representation in Congress. They don't have 2 fucking senators, dude. They don't get to vote. They don't get to fucking vote, man.
They're an occupied territory. That's
I may be wrong
enough,
about the voting.
Let me say this. No, you are right. They have enough sort of American status to be beneficial to America. None of the perks, none of the pros.
No, dude, it was kind of like
them as fucking of citizenry.
It was a military outpost. I mean, come on. I saw in Democracy Now! That they call it something. Half the island, they're picking up fucking the storm has uncovered all these weapons. They used to like test weapons in the middle of Puerto Rico. And so there's all this unexploded ammunition out there in the middle that the hurricane has uncovered. And they call it a sweet spot it was like a dead zone. Nothing can grow there because of all the fucking ammo and chemical and bullshit that's been there. It's a name for it, and I can't think of what it is off the top of my head. But yeah, I saw that on Democracy Now! They were talking about that. It's an occupied fucking territory. And same thing we did to Hawaii, we just ended up making them a state. It was it was a military outpost. That's what it was. It was to check our shits and make sure that, they weren't coming in from Cuba. The commies weren't coming in from Cuba. So, anyways, it's a bad situation over there, man. And let me plug this real quick.
And the storm season isn't over.
Oh fuck, no, it just started, dude. It just started. And I'm repeating myself again. Let me plug that show that we're going to. You want me to do that right now, or you want to wait till later? Plug that show in LA this weekend.
Well, yeah, go ahead and talk about that because this is the people who are really doing shit are the communities. Like Antifa and I don't know, proper like red and anarchist skinheads doing shit to actually try and benefit these people, and I want to remind people that members of Antifa were on the fucking ground in Houston and in every one of these things.
Well, a member of Antifa is somebody that doesn't want to have fascism, that are against fascism. That makes you Antifa. If you're against fascism, you're Antifa.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. And so what you mean there were actual like human people actually helping other human people and doing the fucking human thing that humans do, which is help each other when they see somebody else and we've even got fucking diehard what are they, bleeding heart liberals that can't see an animal suffer. Right. We take care of things. That's what humans do. That's a human instinct. Not not toss paper towels at people.
Take care of yourself at all costs.
Did you hear him?
Anti-human.
Have a good time. He said it again. He said it in Puerto Rico. Thanks for coming out. Have a good time. Dude, they're hurricane victims.
It's not Mar-a-Lago, you fucking moron.
They're not here to have a good time, fucker. Paper towels, they need water and probably toilet paper.
And electricity and
oh my, yes, electricity.
And probably and then he talked about how he made a joke about how he's fucking up the budget. They're fucking up the budget.
They're fucking up his budget. He said that now that they've got the roads clear. Here, he flat out fucking lied. He said, now that the roads are clear, we need drivers. He's like, but none of you guys want to step up and drive. But we need truck drivers here to drive the trucks. First of all, the roads weren't cleared. And second of all, now you just said what? That they're lazy again? That Puerto Ricans are lazy? Is this guy's what? Because you're from New York? And you grew up with Puerto Ricans and your daddy called them lazy all the time? Just wondering, bro.
And he has no idea of the devastation. Look, he didn't. I'll guarantee you.
Melania has more idea.
The only things that he saw while he was there was the most pampered, beautiful conditions ever. Like he probably felt like he was in a petri dish of disgusting when he was throwing those paper towels. He couldn't even touch anybody. He couldn't even touch.
No, I saw him shaking hands and talking to some people, but he wasn't hugging on them. Okay. Not like I saw pictures of Obama and Bush and Clinton hugging on people during hurricanes.
And fuck all three of them, but they did that. At least they could have a human moment, at least a brief moment. Even if they were full of shit and didn't really care about those people, at least they frickin' embraced them and acted like it.
Aaron, I would think we may not agree with their politics, but they acted like a human acts when they see something like this. They felt empathy. The
Just
man
like
in charge, Citolini has no empathy. He has no idea. And if you fucking voted for him, fuck you.
Totally.
All right, you want to move on, or are we done with Puerto Rico?
Yes,
I mean, okay. Oh well, no. We need to say here's where we're going with this. Is that we had Antifa on the ground. We had people doing the right thing. Okay, we even had fucking presidents that did the right thing. Well, one of our comrades that follows us on our page let us know that RASH, which is what is that, Aaron?
Red and Anarchist Skinheads.
Red and Anarchist Skinheads are
Red Skinheads.
That's what I said.
They come out of the legacy of Sharp. So a lot of them,
right?
Yeah.
Are they sponsoring a show? Or
just let me clarify for people who don't know. Being skinhead does not imply racism. In fact, the early history of skinheads is based on Jamaican culture, rocksteady music, and being working class, and the intersection of that culture with British working class culture, and that was the beginning. So it was very rooted in racial harmony. Was a cornerstone of
exactly.
Skinhead culture, and it came off of the tradition. They were kind of like they were sort of like the Mods' little brothers, as people would say. Rocksteady and Rude Boys.
Yeah, but they were the blue collar, working guys with their hands that were out busting their ass every day, and they came and they wanted to come. They wanted to, when they got done from work, they wanted to drink beer and listen to Rocksteady, and that's what they did. And they were all about embracing. They didn't give a fuck what color. They were proud to be black. They were proud to be white. I'm proud that you're proud that you're black. And they were proud that I'm proud I'm white. I mean, it was all about, inclusion, and it was jacked by the fucking racists.
Right. So what happens is the National Front, because there was a very large influx of immigration at this time, and I guess there was apparently a lot of sort of Pakistani culture and stuff. But anyway, so of course fascists feed on that kind of shit and wanted to scapegoat people, and then there was also everyone's under Thatcher's fucking trickle down, draconian just nightmare, right? So. Yeah. National Front comes in and explodes
Ronnie and Margaret.
Right, and so the National Front, which is a total neo-fascist Nazi political party in England, they exploited that dissension and dissatisfaction in the populace in Europe, and convinced a lot of these working class skinheads to kind of buy into this neo-Nazi ideology. And then by the time it really makes its way into the broader public, into the media, into the U.S., it's Nazi skinhead. And then we're hearing about drive-by shootings and all the horrible, horrible, horrible murders and terrorism and bombings and burning of churches and all this evil shit that they did. So when people hear the word skinhead, they attach it to all that. And that's understandable. But people do need to understand that people who were brought up in that tradition of skinhead really hated all that shit just as much as you did, and fought harder than anybody else out there in the 80s and 90s to put a stop to it. And that's why they all went away. Skinheads didn't just disappear in the 80s. The Nazis didn't disappear. They got beat back by people like Sharp and Red and Anarchist Skinheads. So they're doing a show. So that's a little history,
right. And all I wanted to say, bro, and I appreciate that, because it wasn't until recently that I understood that that's where the skinheads came from. Because when I was tuned into the scene, it was the skinheads were Nazis, right? And so it wasn't until
they're fighting all the suicides at the gig.
Yeah, and it was okay, I'm done with all you guys. I don't have time for this. I've got other things on my mind, and sex is one of them. So I'm out. Anyway, this whole thing that we're trying to get to is that there's a show this weekend in Los Angeles that it's put on by or sponsored by or in collaboration with or in communication with RASH.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and one of our buddies, one of our comrades from our Puncture Progress page, his band is playing there, and I believe
Total Massacre they're called.
Total Massacre, yes. So I will be going and representing Puncture Progress, but what it is the main deal. It is a relief show for disaster victims, and that's not just the hurricanes, but it's also the earthquake in Mexico, the devastating earthquake in Mexico. So, fucking Mother Nature was pissed that week, wasn't she?
I know, dude. Holy crap.
Fuck. See? And you think we want to talk about climate change? Is now a good time to talk about climate change? Or is now a good time to talk about gun control?
Well, yeah, I don't know. We can have that talk. I'm still always very mixed on the whole gun control thing. But, I mean, the topic is on the table because of what happened in Vegas. So we can get into that. Yeah, this guy, Paddock.
Don't even say his name. I mean, I know. But
and plowed down right now. 59 dead was the last count I heard.
Yeah,
and
but one of them
like 500 injured and like
one of them's him. The 59th one was himself. So I don't fucking count that. You know, no. Any coward can shoot himself in the head after you fucking kill 50 people. I guess he was trying to. There's evidence that he thought he might be able to get away. So I guess shooting himself in his fucking head was his second choice. But nobody knows the motive yet, bro. There's, they've released pictures from inside the room. You had pictures. There were pictures from the room inside the video that you did.
The video, beginning of the show.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, he busted out he had two rooms, I guess, and he busted out the windows in both of them. I don't know the whole story yet. Stuff's still coming out. Like I said, we don't know. He was there since Thursday. That thing happened Sunday night. He sent his old lady to the Philippines. Sent her $100,000. Also, and I pointed this out to you today, and I want to point it out to some of our followers. He sent his wife away for a month or so. I don't know, whatever this time frame was. He sent her away a couple weeks, right? But he booked a room there was another festival show, I guess, downtown Las Vegas. And it was more of an alternative show. Gorillaz was one of the bands in it, and I can't remember who else. But this guy booked a room at the Ogden through Airbnb.
We know the
exact hotel Airbnb that you and I stayed in for Punk Rock Bowling. So apparently he had booked a room in this place too. During the same time period his wife was in the Philippines. So basically, I guess to get her, she's an alibi. She's out of the country. She has no idea what's going to go down. And here's $100,000 in case something, in case I gotta kill myself. Yeah, right. Pretty much. So, but I mean, I was like, wow. So that dude was there as well. But then he went down and he shot the Cowboys down at this Cowboy festival that was going down. So dude, I mean,
that shows planning.
That was that fucking a lot of planning. Well, and come on, they found 23 weapons in his room, and he had 10 or so assault semi-automatics with bump stocks on them to make them more automatic. I don't know how many of them he used, but I mean, the videos I've seen, you can hear the pop, 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 pop. I mean, it sounds like he's shooting 100 or so rounds off, and then there's a pause, and then is he grabbing another gun or is he reloading? And pop, 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 and then he has at it again. It happens like 3 times or something, I think, man. So, I guess.
What do you call that a blunt stock or bump stock or whatever the hell
bump stock? Yeah, it's called a bump stock. I guess what it does, bro, is it uses the recoil.
Yeah, it just makes it into just a fully automatic. Pop, 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 pop. That's why the shots are so fast. And of course we need to know what the motivation is, but give me a fucking break. He's a right-winger who's amassing an arsenal, including bump stocks. What the fuck do you think he was planning to do?
Well, no, we don't know that he's a right-winger. He's a white guy. He amassed an arsenal. That's the point right there. How is he allowed to amass an arsenal like that and turn it into automatic weapons? That's why there's got to be. But you know what? It's not going to happen, motherfucker. It ain't going to happen. Look, after Sandy Hook, that many kids killed, and you still can't write a law? What makes you think 50 fucking cowboys is going to make a difference? They're not going to write a motherfucking law. It's not going to happen. And it's sad because until it does, this is going to keep going on. And now what? They're going to have metal detectors when you walk into concerts? Oh, wait a minute. They already have that. This guy wasn't at the concert.
He was planning to shoot other festivals. He was planning to shoot up Lollapalooza.
He was planning to shoot Lollapalooza. Yeah, he had a hotel for Lollapalooza. I guess in Las Vegas too.
So I mean, sounds like this may not be accurate, but the gist I'm getting is it sounds like maybe he was planning to sort of, do this one, and if he got away with it, okay, I got a hotel booked over there, I'll go and do it there, and then
I don't know. I think he was just looking for the opportunity, but he had backup. This was going to happen one way or another. He was going to shoot up a whole bunch of fucking people.
Right.
That was the plan. And if it's going to be at this show or this show or this show, I'm not really sure. But I'm going to shoot up a whole bunch of motherfucking people somewhere. So, I mean, I guess this one just worked out really good for him. I have no idea. We don't know. We're obviously speculating. There's speculation that since he was there on Thursday, he gambled. I guess he had a $30,000 gambling debt at one point. The guy, I guess, had money. He was not a poor guy. Apparently, he had been selling real estate, I think, is what his I think his brother said they owned apartments.
Amassing an arsenal isn't cheap.
No shit. No. That stuff's not cheap at all. But it's like, you have open carry in Nevada. They can walk around with fucking assault weapons in Nevada. Apparently, I guess there's. I don't know. Now, I don't know some of these stories I'm hearing.
Doing it.
But there's these stories out there, and like I said, I don't know for sure because we don't know shit really. But there's stories out there that he might have bought all those 33 guns in one day. All right, how do you just amass 33? You go, and that doesn't raise a red flag. They're asking the sheriff came out and said how somebody had to know. Somebody had to know something. You just don't walk up into your hotel room on the 35th floor with 23 motherfucking rifles, long arms.
Yeah, I gotta kind of push back on that because.
You think?
Yeah, because you just put them in duffel bags. In fact, the concierge is going to help you put them on that little fucking rollaway rack and carry it up to your room for you.
Okay, now here's what Now hang on, because
ask what's in it.
I know, but I was talking to my buddy about that. I said I just figured they went in duffel bags. He's like, no, bro, those are long rifles, long guns. I think they call them. I don't know. I don't have a gun.
So what? They fit in duffel bags.
No, they don't.
How long they?
No, they don't. They're fucking huge.
Bags.
He said they've got to put them in suit bags, bro. They're that long.
Okay,
I saw some of those weapons he had on there. Unless they break down, they're as big as a coffee table. So I mean, but it's still okay. Come on, bro.
I've seen duffel bags bigger than coffee tables.
You're not questioning that. I'm thinking, look, dude, if he was there 3 days, come on. We were at the Ogden. I could have gone up and down from my truck every day and brought up 2 or 3 bags with me, even if I brought one up the size of a coffee table. Are those guys in the lobby going to question me as I'm rolling that thing up and down there? Fuck no, they're not. So I don't know. I mean, I don't have a long rifle. I don't know how long they are.
I just think that. Well, let me say this, bro. Let me say this. I just think that those kind of things are real distractions until we know, if we ever know, what his motive was. If the note is, there's in one of those pictures I showed in the earlier video, you'll see a little red circle. What that is it's pointing to something that might be a note. Okay, now that may never happen. We may never know. And so trying to speculate and find out, that's what that Alex Jones video that I made that we showed in the beginning of the show was all about, showing you. And when we talked about it also earlier in the show is knee-jerk reactions, man. Just like hearing something and then trying to make it fit your narrative. There's another video that Reich-Wing Watch put up today, which is really excellent. And what it shows, what he did is he went to all the 4chan and all the far right, bullshit message boards and sites, and their instant chatter the second after it happened, in real time when it's happening. After, obviously, it's ISIS and Antifa, ISIS, Antifa, and Muslims, and
violence,
shut borders, and we need to, deportations now. And then the second it came out who it was, they went into instantaneously, within seconds, went into, oh well, then we need to find out that we're not being told everything. This just doesn't add up. How did he break the window? Those are storm windows, and
he
the
had
conspiracy.
A hammer,
right? It's yeah. And you know what else he had, bro? An arsenal of rifles. I think.
Now, that's the issue, bro. Why is that legal? Why is it legal for a fucking citizen to have military-grade weapons? Those are
the military.
Those are people killing. I don't give a fuck. Those are people killing machines.
I do.
They're people killing machines. You can have your deer gun. You can have your elephant gun. I don't care.
I just don't know how that's going to help me from the military. I have, if you notice, and if any of our listeners notice, and I don't know if you've ever noticed, Mike, but I've always skirted around this because I don't like that anyone, especially some fucking government, telling me that I can't have a gun. I really don't like it. I want it to be my fucking choice. But I think if we fix the foundational structures in our society, people amassing guns doesn't become a problem. But our society is so fucking sick and so broken and so completely just beholden to capitalist tyranny that we breed all this like idiocy and ignorance and dissension and division and violence and shit, because all of that bolsters capitalism. All of that is easily exploitable and monetizable.
Then I disagree.
So
I think the government already tells you what you can and can't have. You can't
right,
yell,
and I don't agree with
you can't
that.
yell fire
and
on
I'm not ready.
Dude,
right,
you can't yell fire on an airplane. You can't yell fucking Muslim.
Right.
You can't. I mean, come on. That's
but I don't need the government to tell me that. I don't need the government to tell me that that's wrong.
Oh, well, yeah, but some people do.
Because our society is so sick and uneducated. We need to educate
And it's
people.
not that I have a problem with you having a gun. I have a problem with you having a fucking human killing machine. That's what I have a problem with. Why do you want a human killing machine?
Well, listen, Michael, I don't own a gun and I have no intention of owning a gun. But I do want to say this because I think it needs to be said, is that the right wing is amassing an arsenal. And their target is the left. And so I'm scared. We're planning a lot of marches and a lot of demonstrations on the left coming up this year. And there's a lot of fucking chatter on the right wing about coming out and doing harm to us. And these are people who are amassing arsenals.
Is there any, I don't know, bro, are you sure? Are you need to be scared? Is there any history of right-wing violence in this country at all?
Every day. And, and then we need to talk about and bring up the fact that there's organizations like Redneck Revolt, which I have a shit ton of respect for. And they're all about their weapons. Again, that's just not my bag. It never has been. I don't want a gun. It's just not my trip, man. But
there needs to be,
I'm afraid of
common sense gun laws, bro. It worked in Australia.
I'm afraid of the government I'm afraid of the government and its fascist minions having a fucking arsenal of weapons, and we have nothing to defend our homes with. And I think it's a very real question, Mike. And of course, you know me, bro. I'm not going to fucking discount like those blunt stocks or whatever the fuck they call those things. I know what that's for. There's only one thing that's for, and it's for killing a shit ton of people.
Yeah, but now, come on. You really think... I mean, come on. The right wing's been yelling and screaming that the government's coming for your guns ever since Obama took office. And in fact, gun sales are down because Trump is in office. And the fucking NRA is freaking out. And the gun manufacturers are freaking out because gun sales are down. Because obviously, the fucking Second Amendment people are like, well, Trump's not coming for our guns. They voted for Trump because they wanted to keep their guns. Because they're afraid the government's going to come and fucking take them over. So... that's what democracy is supposed to prevent, is the fact that the government's going to come. That's exactly what they did, why they wrote the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, is because they didn't want what happened to them before to happen now. And it's happening now. The Second Amendment was written when we had one-shot muskets, not semi-automatic weapons that you can turn automatic by putting a fucking $20 device on that you can order from Amazon and have it delivered in your house in 2 days.
And the massive society just doesn't have any foundational understanding of human culture to be trusted with a gun. I agree with that, Mike.
What about mentally ill people having a gun?
I'm not into
What about
that at
people
all.
What about people on the no-fly list? Should they have a gun?
No, well, actually, yes, absolutely. Using the no-fly list as a barometer to take away someone's fucking rights is bullshit. Fuck the no-fly list, dude.
I guess it wasn't the no-fly list, but
crap. No, but that was an issue. That was something that was pushed as part of gun control.
Well, because the no-fly list is full of shit.
Because it instantly implies that everyone on the no-fly list is a terrorist, which is fucking garbage. The vast majority of people on that list are not. Sorry, babies and toddlers are not fucking terrorists.
No, I know. You're right. You're right. That was my mistake, bro. But I did hear there's something that it wasn't the no-fly list. But I mean, it's ridiculous about who we let have guns.
It is. I mean, of course we can revamp it all. I mean, listen. I guess my hesitance is because I ultimately look. I'm an anarchist. I don't want there to be any type of authoritarian power doing anything. But we don't live in my anarchist utopia right now. We do live under the conditions of imperialist capitalism. Okay, so we have to make concessions and
well, and we should be living under a democracy
on it as best we can while we do that. So, with that said, yes, I am definitely open to putting all kinds of these different restrictions on gun ownership, like high magazine clips. And
yeah, really? I mean, come on.
Stuff. And yes, background checks and end the gun show loophole. And keep people who have shown, histories of domestic violence and fucking, any type of violent criminal past at all.
Maybe that's the one, bro. Maybe that was the one. That was it. It was people that have domestic violence that they can still go out and buy a gun.
And so that stuff is ridiculous, and we can be smarter about that. And again, so it comes back to our recurring theme of nothing is ever simple. It's always got nuance and complexity. So I don't like blanket statements about we need to do this about guns or guns are bad, guns are good, like any of that. No, it's not.
Well, I can have my opinion and you can have your opinion. However, that doesn't make it everybody else's opinion, and that doesn't mean they have to live by what I believe or what you believe. But I mean, there needs to be some common sense here when it comes to 58 fucking people getting gunned down at a goddamn cowboy show, bro. Seriously. I mean, come on. I'm not going to quit going to punk rock shows because I'm afraid I'm going to get shot down. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. But I don't want to see you.
At punk rock bowling, Mike. Hey, Mike, when we were at punk rock bowling, we talked about it. There were fucking threats of fucking like bombings and shit going on that weekend. We talked about fuck it, we're going.
You're right. You're right. There were.
And
it was Memorial Day weekend.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna live my life, man. But like,
but this needs to. I don't want to see you go to a show and get killed, though.
Ditto.
Right. Right. So I mean, there's got to be something that can be done, and maybe just a few of those things that you suggested that you rattled off your list, the common sense fucking things that might be done to maybe prevent something like this from happening again. But you know what, bro? It didn't happen at Newtown. It's not going to happen now. If little kids get killed, they're going to fucking
do, Mike. I think what would be good is a large-scale fucking like full frontal campaign to end the NRA. Because it's the NRA. Listen, I think human society. I believe in humanity. I'm a weird punk rocker that actually likes humanity. Most punk rockers really fucking hate people, but I kind of believe in humanity. All right, and I think left to our own devices, us as humans, we would be having a much different conversation about the nature of guns in our society if it were not so fucking muddied up by the millions and millions and millions of dollars of fucking propaganda and bullshit that NRA pushes on us constantly. We're not allowed to have a discussion on guns because the NRA is completely dominating the fucking discourse, and we're all just reacting and reeling to it. They go into fucking full, stretching back to when that asshole actor piece of shit went to, where was it, Sandy Hook the day after the shooting and said, from my dead hands and shit. Charlton Heston, NRA bullshit. So right when these tragedies happen is when the NRA goes to work.
No, the NRA is normally silent.
Well, no, they're not making statements, bro. They're fucking pumping money in and talking to their fucking politicians and making sure, hey, you better not fucking be pushing legislation right now.
Agreed. Well, now they backed down off that silencer legislation that was in the House.
Yeah, thanks for the token, so that will pacify.
Yeah, right. Just suspended it. They didn't delete it. They didn't get rid of it. They didn't kick it. They kicked it, basically. Said, we'll come back to that. Not right now. Is not the right time. Yeah.
But meanwhile,
dude, it's a total corporate takeover. I mean, and they are one of the, if not
the
largest lobbying agency.
Which is fascism. Mussolini said fascism would be better described as corporatism because it's the merger of, he said it was the government takeover of corporations. And so what we have is a little different. It's corporations take over of the government, right? But it's corporatism. That is fascism.
That's what it is. I mean, we're looking at fucking Pottersville, bro. It's going to be Pottersville.
and free market economics facilitates it. Hitler was a free market economist, man, because he wanted to let the market do its thing. But what that does is it facilitates monopoly. And then monopoly ultimately consolidates its power and picks a figurehead to serve their interests, which is to subjugate the people and maintain their monopoly in their power. It leads to dictatorships. It's not hating Jews. It's not forcing people to do your thing. This is, the right, these alt-rights that were screaming and yelling at us for a week in Berkeley. They don't understand. They think that trying to shut down someone's speech is some sort of like evidence of fascism. Fascism, yes, it's very militant and it does that. It shuts down people's speech. But they're shutting down people's dissension against their free market ideology and their monopoly and their dictatorship. So speaking out against that and trying to stop that from happening is not being fascist. It's so fucking ridiculous. But they don't understand what fascism is.
They have no idea what the definition is. They're the fascists. They keep calling us the fascists because, you're trying to shut down free speech. No. You can say all you want. The government isn't going to shut you down, but we're going to shut you down. And you know what? You can say what you want, but because of what you're saying, we're going to shut you down. I got news for you, fuckheads. Antifa doesn't show up unless you're a fascist. Right. If you're spouting fascism and racism, expect Antifa to show up. Expect the anarchists to show up, and expect the guys in masks wearing black to show up. It's going to happen. I didn't see anybody dressed in black with masks on at the Women's March. Did you, bro?
Nope, sure didn't.
No. Guess what? Guess what? When I went to San Bernardino and saw the fascists marching in the streets, carrying the flags and the "Don't Tread on Me" and the Trump supporters, that's when Antifa was there, and thank God they were there. But yeah, so I got news for you. If there's Antifa is there, it's because there's fascism there.
Right, that's the truth.
Right.
So I guess we could probably go into Fascist Week in Berkeley. I just
So Milo, what was it? So-called Free Speech Week? Right. No, it was Fascist Week.
Right. And the media is portraying it as failed Free Speech Week because Milo only spoke for 20 minutes on Sproul or on the steps of Sproul Hall. But it was a massive success, massive success for fascism because all Milo had to do was show up to Sproul Hall for 20 minutes, and fascists took the cue to run wild and travel from all over and get to Berkeley and run roughshod over Berkeley for a week, antagonizing its citizens. They repeatedly attacked Revolution books for 4 days straight. We have all kinds of video up showing it. So, it starts out, so I'll give you kind of the rundown. It starts out on the Wednesday when Ben Shapiro came to speak. And people from Refuse Fascism put together a speak out against the university had cordoned it off. There's no way we could actually directly go to the hall where he would speak. So we were out in the main plaza that entered to the opening of Cal, where a lot of these marches went down, and began doing speeches and stuff. And I gave a talk, and there's a video of my talk from there up on our channel. But and then what happened is a bunch of students actually occupied I think it's called the AT&T Student Unit. I don't know. It's some corporate name, student hall, right? So a bunch of these students occupied it, and then the cops basically went in and then trapped them in there. And anyway, there's a whole live stream of that on our channel, and it ended peacefully. There was a few little fascists kind of in the crowd talking a little shit, trying to instigate. They were pushing up on the Refuse Fascism mic a few times and trying to kind of disrupt them. Overall, it was a massive showing of the East Bay community that came out against Ben Shapiro, and then ultimately, there's a whole live stream of that, and then the students were ultimately let out. But it was anyway. So watch that, and then it's kind of 2 days off, and then on Saturday, people from ABTP and the IWW and a bunch of different groups got together and had a sort of preemptive, fuck you fascist motherfuckers rally on Saturday in the same spot where we had to speak out against Ben Shapiro. But this time there's the APTP truck there, there's mics, there's a huge march, and I stood there with the IWW, and Chelsea Manning showed up and gave a quick talk, and it was funny because I just wasn't prepared. I wasn't live streaming and filming, and they announced her, and I pulled out my camera real fast and dropping signs and flags and shit to try and film it. And so the video's a little janky, but you get to hear what she said, and that's up on our channel. But So that was really successful, and that was really a large showing again for them. And then Sunday, Milo comes, right? And this is when all the fascists from, Red Elephants and frickin' very fake, just all of them descended on, Berkeley. And we were doing, again, Refuse Fascism was out there, and I was with them again, and we were doing a speak out on the same spot. And the police came out. They cordoned off the whole fucking place. They spent $800,000. And Milo came out. Now, get this. So he works with this group called College Patriots. And they don't get all their fucking shit in time. They don't get all their paperwork and all their fucking shit submitted in time. The university actually, pushes back deadlines to try and accommodate them, and they still don't get their shit submitted and done. Half the fucking speakers that Milo had never even agreed to do it. And so there were no events for this week of free speech, except for Milo finally shows up. Again, they spent $800,000 to facilitate this guy who had nothing and no right to fucking be there other than anybody else, me or you or any other jagoff off the street can, go step up on Sproul Hall and start saying shit. But they spent $800,000 to make sure he got to do it and kept out a shit ton of people that were opposed to it. Free speech, my ass. So this guy, listen, not only do I do, activist organizing, I've also been a punk rock promoter for 30 years. I know what it means to go in, and I've booked some very large sort of festival things and stuff. And so I know what the type of prep that goes into doing things like that. And I know if I had a thing called Free Speech Week, the first thing I would have in place before I set about actually making this thing come to fruition was the things I was going to say at Free Speech Week, because that's the foundational cornerstone of your event. Is I want to have a week-long thing so I can say this. Well, he didn't have
this at this time and this at this time, and I'll have this guy come and speak at this time, and right.
Instead, what he did is he just called it, this is going to be these days, this day's theme is going to be this, then we're going to have this theme, and then this theme. And all of it was totally fucking dog whistle, anti-immigrant, anti-LGBTQ. I mean, all of it. And I want to reiterate and remind people that the narrative that Milo is not a fascist, we have the proof that he is. He worked directly with neo-Nazis. There's him texting the dude from Daily Stormer asking for an interview so he can get the truth about the alt-right. That's Milo talking to the fucking main dude from Daily Stormer. Because he's going to do a piece on the alt-right and he wants to get it right. So don't give me this fucking bullshit that he's not a Nazi. He is. And all of his different days themes, again, were your typical dog whistle, anti-fucking marginalized minority group themes, each one. But he doesn't have anything prepared. He comes out and he speaks for fucking 20 minutes. But meanwhile, these fucking assholes ran wild in the streets for a week. So he has his thing. He has this little talk, which our comrade Soshi from Refuse Fascism just talked him down the entire time. It was fucking fabulous. Every time he tried to say something, you had Soshi saying, just giving it to him. She's so amazing. And so he leaves, and then the fascists are left with nothing to do. So a big giant mob of them find their way to Revolution Books, where I was, and attacked us, man. We got locked inside. They're fucking pounding on the windows, accusing us of killing millions of people. And we found you, and we're going to keep coming back. And you fucking commies, there's no safe place for you. Infowars! Infowars, we found the fucking commies! And they repeatedly did that every day, dude, for the next 4 days.
Wow. Fucking amazing.
And live streamed them talking about doing it. We're about to go storm this fucking commie bookstore. We're about to go expose these fucking communists. And then they go out and fucking attack us. And when they get there, they're like, we want to learn about communism. As they physically, the main dude, Tony Foreman, this fucking scumbag, he fucking physically forces his way in through the fucking door. I want to learn about communism. And then he comes back an hour later and goes, this is what fucking fascism looks like. We're going to get rid of all you fucking communists. I want to buy a book. Give me a break, you fascist terrorist thug. He's pointing at us going, look at them, they're scared. Ha ha, cucks. So you're not a terrorist? You're not here to instill fear in us? Because my understanding is that's what terrorism is.
No. They're just there to buy books.
And to make sure that other people know. He says it over and over too. You doing your communist thing? We're coming for you. This is what we do with communists in America. That's terrorism. It's fascist fucking terrorism. And again, these alt-right idiots think if you're not Muslim and you didn't do a suicide bombing, it's not terrorism.
Well, yeah, and it's easy. I mean, come on. We're going back to the 1950s because communism is going to take over the world.
And again, and it's all the same thing, Michael. That's all that same fucking Red Scare, like John Birch Society paranoia, which the Koch brothers' dad was one of the founders of. And this is all related to there's great videos on Reich-Wing Watch that explain a lot of this if you want to check them out. But as far as the rise of the libertarian movement, but we're talking about the Mises Institute and Murray Rothbard, and they're the way that they repackaged free market fucking fascism as anarcho-capitalism, and then it's mixed in, and then it's mixed in with all this virulent anti-communist rhetoric that's now associated. They targeted at Antifa as well now, and Infowars is boosting that. And so, and here's the thing too, bro, is each time they went and attacked this store, they came with a different far right-wing social like YouTube outlet. Red Elephants, Folklore Americana, LA Werewolf, Mr. Barrera, all these fascist fucking assholes. So what they're doing, and then they got Poll on the fucking live stream doxing everybody that they're seeing in the video and telling people, dox these people, guys, in their live streams. And so what they're doing is they're getting video of them instilling fear in people and saying, this is what we're going to do to you if you be this. That is the definition of terrorism. And I'll tell you this too, man. 3 people packed and beat the shit out of a dude and knocked him unconscious, some just random student from Berkeley during the week with Make America Great Again hat and when they came out for these past events in Berkeley, like on April 15th and stuff, like businesses in Oakland and Berkeley that had like Black Lives Matter stuff in the windows had their storefront broken out, people beat up and assaulted on the street. So Milo's Free Speech Week was a fucking success. Fascism
sounds like it.
And you look at that video that we put in, and when they're chanting "No communists, no communists," they just poured out into the middle of the street. Stop traffic right there, just on a whim, and the cops helped them.
Yeah, because that's where they went in the 80s, bro. They didn't disappear. They joined the fucking police force.
Fucking A, they did. That's exactly 100% fucking true.
So you got video of all this shit that went down.
There's video of the whole week. There's video, all kinds of different videos. One of the ones I would really suggest our followers take a look at is Fascists Repeatedly Attack Revolution books. That one will really show you what went down. And I mean, the live streams are great too because I have a lot of I have a thing. I like to talk to these people. If I see one of these fascist idiots, I will actually have a conversation. I'll have it with them. Most of them just walk up to you and go, "Hey, you fucking faggot! Hey, cuck! How'd you did you fucking murder? You should be ashamed for murdering 100 million fucking people and fuck communism." And I'm like, I'm a fucking anarchist, and you're wearing a fucking tin helmet on your head, you fucking moron. But there are people that like I can have conversations with. So if you watch my live streams, there's a number of that kind of stuff going on. So they're worth watching and getting through. But and then I am in the process of working on putting together one film that is sort of one video that's a full rundown of what happened over the week and just kind of the important highlights and commentary and stuff like that. And so that's in the works.
Cool. All right.
And so we. And I'm gonna, you'll notice again. So I want to talk a little bit about Reich-Wing Watch, and give a huge shout to Reich-Wing. Yeah. That is easily my favorite YouTube channel in the universe.
The YouTube universe?
They're no, the universe. In parallel universes, Reich-Wing Watch is still the best YouTube channel. But it's just that the content is so dead on, substantive, and factual and sourced and just on its face accurate. It's just so good, and he just really does such a I don't know they. I'm assuming there's more than people there, but anyway, he does his archival homework fantastically, and so when and there's obvious degrees in like journalism and video editing because the content is just really fantastic and professional. But anyway, I wouldn't say we're in a collaboration with them, but like I've given them a bunch of our video and they've given us permission to use stuff that they post. So I'll be spicing in a lot of Reich-Wing Watch into future videos and stuff. And that's what I did with that video that we showed in the beginning of tonight's show. And they were awesome enough to repost that video that we showed again at the beginning of me speaking on Sproul Hall. They posted that on Reich-Wing Watch, and that was just really, really awesome because they have far more subscribers than our little backyard janky podcast. So I just really, really want to thank everyone from Reich-Wing Watch for doing that for us. That's just so incredibly cool.
Yeah,
and,
thanks, guys.
And you, if you're listening, if you're not subscribed to them, you need to. They have we posted a couple of their movies too. We put up the documentary they did, the Alex Jones Deception. Holy crap, that is so good. And then the other video that we put up from them is Revolution, the rise of right-wing terrorism. Holy crap, that is so good. So both of those are on our channel, and they're really, really worth watching. And but make sure you sub to them and like them on Facebook. And so when I get together and when I get down to finally finish up that film, I've already started working on it, but it's probably going to be like a good 2.5 hour documentary. Right now, I have it whittled down to about 4 hours, and there's more stuff I want to put in.
Holy crap.
So it's going to have to be really whittled down. So it's going to take me some real time to put this together, but I'm also going to put video historic stuff from that Reich-Wing Watch is compiled and intersplice it throughout the video and really give people historic context for what they're seeing happening now in Berkeley. So I'm working on that, but give us some time. I also, in the midst of all this, I went and saw Fang. And
did we talk about that last time?
I don't know if we did or not. No, we talked about me getting a tattoo from Sammy, getting a Fang tattoo.
Oh, yeah. Okay, true that.
Went and saw the band. They played at the East Bay Rats Clubhouse on the Saturday that I stood with the IWW. So I live streamed their full set, and it was really good. The vocals are a little quiet in it, but I mean that's what happens in small venues sometimes. But it's still really fantastic. And so check that out. It's their full set, and it's on our channel, Fang, at live at the East Bay Rats Clubhouse. And what else? Oh, we're gonna do another midweek music.
Yes, we're going to do a Halloween show. And then I'm also working on one with some EPs that I picked up and some of my friends.
The local
the local boys. So that's in the works. And then I want to plug that show one more time, okay?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that show that's the Saturday. It's at a place called La Concha, I guess. I probably pronounce it wrong. Come on, you know me. The flyer's on our Facebook page. It's also on my Instagram at Mike_Punker. It's on Cesar Chavez Boulevard in Los Angeles. It's The Lungs, Total Massacre, Gag Tape, and Screaming Cowbell. A benefit for disaster victims, Saturday, October 7th, 8 p.m. And it is RASH, West Coast, and Serve the People, L.A. It's presented by them.
Excellent.
So it's a $5 cover, and the money goes for victims of the hurricanes and the Mexico earthquake.
Sure, and the link, not only is the flyer on our channel or on our page, on our Facebook page, the link to the event page is there too, so you can click on it and learn more about what they're doing because it's
excelente. What else?
I swear there was something I wanted to mention, and as you said, the show. I want to direct people to. Actually, we should throw it in, Mike. We didn't talk about it, but we should throw in the LeShea video.
We should. Well, let's talk about it real quick. You know, we did an interview with LeShea Rodriguez from Environment, California, and she has a letter that she's putting out to the congressional delegation of California, which is our 2 senators and all the representatives in the House of Representatives here from California, that says that we want to have California taken off the list of sites where they're going to increase offshore drilling. So basically, the Trump administration is going to increase offshore drilling in these sites around the country, around the world, and we want California to be taken off the list of those sites because right now it is on the list. So we don't want any more offshore drilling here in California. So yeah, there's that whole interview with LeShea. I could throw that in at the end of this. Do you want to do that?
So she came on and hung out with us for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, dude. She was great. Just a great interview. One of our best interviews, I think, up to this point.
No, she's awesome, and she's really motivated. She provides some real good information and background, and you'll really understand what this whole issue is by listening to her. So it's really good. So yeah, let's throw that in. And then, is there anything that we're forgetting? Check it out. Eddie Money played in Reno, and I was too busy.
Tom Petty died.
I was too busy fighting fascists to go see Eddie. So I'm sorry, Eddie Money minute. Eddie Money moment, whatever. But,
well, and Tom Petty passed away. We got to put that in there. I mean, I listened to a few songs. I listened to a few songs off "Damn the Torpedoes" when I first started getting stoned. So, I've got fond memories of "Don't Do Me Like That."
I like some of it. I like some of his early '70s stuff, and and he fought some pretty hard battles with record labels and stuff that I think was really impressive. And he was just a genuine dude. I mean, and the stuff with the Wilburys, traveling Wilburys, was kind of historic rock and roll moment.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I was thinking about that too.
It's just I've never owned a Tom Petty record. But
I owned Damn the Torpedoes. That was the only one.
And you know what? He's important to a lot of people, man. He made a lot of people's day a little brighter.
Well, the Dolly Rots did a cover of American Girl. I think the link is up on our webpage. Cool. On our Facebook page. We don't have a webpage yet.
Well, we do. We have a domain name.
We have a domain name, but we don't have a page set up.
All of our wonderful Tech Monkey friends out there want to build a webpage for Punks for Progress? We will let you.
Hit us up. Oh, and hey, by the way, send us your horrible Halloween jokes on our Facebook page.
Yeah, there's a thread on our Facebook page asking for horrible Halloween jokes. If it's really bad, we'll tell it on our midweek music show.
Put it on our show. Yeah. All right, man.
I think that's it. Hey, I love you, bro. And
I love you too, bro.
Listen, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to Reich-Wing Watch's YouTube. Make sure you like and share our shit on Facebook. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at punks4progress. And we do have a Patreon account set up. We finally did launch one. And listen, here's what we want to do. We film everything we each have a phone. And we have a little bit of janky podcast gear at my house. And Mike has a Radio Shack headset. We would like to get better gear and be able to actually go to more things and provide you better coverage. And maybe get a little better editing software and stuff like that. So if people are interested in donating to our Patreon, holy shit, that would be a trip. It's funny, most of our videos,
and hit up our, that commercial for Evolution Tattoo. Hit them up if you're in Reno.
Oh yeah, definitely hit up Evolution Tattoo in Reno. Johnny Potter from Evolution Tattoo is who drew our logo, Emma Progress. He's the one who did that, and he tattooed it on me. And their work is just fabulous. And actually all the people in there just have a hell of a lot of experience, and they're really fun. It's a really fun place to get tattooed at. The atmosphere is really clean and professional, and they do great work. So yeah, definitely hit up Evolution Tattoo.
Yeah, and if if you're a tattoo artist and you want us to plug your shit, hit us up.
Sure.
I love you, man.
I love you too, bro. So check out this video from LeShea.
And thanks, guys.
All our other videos, and then we'll
appreciate the subscriptions.
We'll be in
man.
touch. Talking to you soon. Yeah,
right.
Big time. And to hey, actually, before we go, I need to say on air, Anarcho Vegan is someone who's been following us he's one of our subs on YouTube. Is the reason he suggested, hey, have you heard of Reich-Wing Watch? And because of them, I went and checked out Reich-Wing Watch, and I binged it for like 24 hours straight for like a week, and then ultimately reached out to him. So the people at Reich-Wing Watch. So because of Anarcho Vegan, thank you so much, man, because our content just got better. And
thanks, dude.
Yeah, thanks so much, man.
All right, guys. Peace out.
Like.
guys. This is Punker Mike from Punks for Progress and Reverend Aaron, and we are here with LeShea Rodriguez from Environment, California. How you doing, LeShea?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Well,
Got
thank
it. Thanks
you for
for being
joining
here.
us.
And thank you for going to the Redlands for Progressive Change meeting and, putting a spur up my partner's butt on this issue. So,
well, when it
Happy to do so.
When it comes to environmental, especially issues that when it comes to the ocean and issues that when it comes to the ocean, I'm right there.
So go ahead. Why don't you go ahead, Mike, and get us kind of up to speed how you guys met and why she's here, and
Right.
and then we'll let her take it from there.
Okay, well, she came to our Redlands for Progressive Change meeting last week and was telling us about this letter that they're drafting, and they're going to send it to the Congressional Delegation of California. So basically, all the members of the House of Representatives that are from here in California, as well as our two senators, Harris and Feinstein, and we are asking them to remove California from the list of states and areas that they are increasing offshore drilling. We want them basically to take California off and say no more offshore drilling. We don't want any more at all. We don't want any at all, but we don't want to increase it whatsoever. So, and so I was like, well, hey, you know what? As co-founder of Punks for Progress, we want to be signed on to that too. Please. So I asked her if she wanted to come on and talk to us and tell you and any of our listeners about this. So
Cool. So we should do that. So yeah, okay. So why don't you get us a little up to speed on kind of the background on what led to this letter being drafted in the first place, and a little bit of the organizing process that went into that, and then tell us all about the letter.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to. So in our previous administration, there was the 5-year leasing program called the Outer Continental Shelf Oil and Gas Leasing. Back in 2016, they were planning what the leasing list was going to look like as far from 2017 to 2022, excuse me. And so a part of that leasing program, it was finalized in November of 2016. It had 11 potential sales areas that they were going to sell. One of them being the Gulf of Mexico, and the other being Alaska, called the Cook Inlet Program. Those were already going to be offered sales. No other areas were on the list. As soon as we get into our new administration in April of 2017, there was an executive order that was signed, and it was going to expand that list of areas up for sale. And a part of that list became California, a part of the Atlantic and Arctic Oceans. So from that became a huge outcry of, wait a minute, didn't we as our Californians already do something about this, already put a stop to this, and what can we do on the state side to prevent this from going further, but ultimately removing California's name off of the list. We have had several different forms of support in regards to getting California off the list. There has been a Senate resolution in the California Senate 35, which was already signed by the governor, essentially prohibiting further drilling, gas and oil drilling off the coast of California, and that was already signed. We recently in the legislature had Senate Bill 188 by Senator Hannah Beth Jackson, and that one again was prohibiting the expanded drilling off the shore of California. So you can already see that we've already had some support and some outcry in opposition to this. So we as an organization have decided that, we thank so much for our elected officials who have already, stepped forward and said something, but we decided how can we get more a voice being heard, and what can we do as far as the community? So we have drafted a letter that essentially mimics the Senate resolution and Senate bill, saying that we oppose expanded offshore gas and oil drilling off the California, and to just remove us off of this list. Currently, Secretary of Interior Ryan Zeke has a review period in which he is looking at the pros and cons and outweighing the costs of having expanded drilling in these other areas. And so during this time, we're hoping that this letter will be sent to Ryan Zinke, to persuade him to take us off the list. And we're also getting support from community organizations. We're getting it from faith-based. We're also looking at privately owned businesses, chambers, anybody who's a Californian who cares about the coast, who cares about our marine life, and who cares about, the coastal economy. Again, California coastal economy brings in about $44.8 billion. And it employs over 400,000 Californians. There's so much that is at stake here. And we've seen so much disasters in regards to oil spill and damages. We've had it back in the 60s off the Huntington Beach at one point, and even more recently with the Exxon oil in the Gulf of Mexico. So
come on. I still get tar balls on my feet from Huntington Beach, okay? And there was just a spill, was it last year? Up in Santa Barbara, there was a leak.
Yeah, exactly. So these spills are occurring with just the few rigs that we have. I couldn't imagine having any more rigs and that causing even more damage. And the thing with these spills is that they're irreversible. You can't just suck up all the oil out of the ocean and be fine again. They're irreplaceable damage to the marine life and ecosystems here, and that's something we can't stand for, as it's going to affect us as, far as people who do like fishing industry or people who enjoy the seafood. We may not be able to have certain crab or lobsters now because of it. So we really want to just baby steps, just get us off the list, and that will completely just alleviate the whole situation. So I had been going around and getting numerous groups to sign on, and I've been getting overwhelming support. I think we as Californians do our best to continue to protect our environment. And, we pride ourselves on California having such a range in geography, such a wide variety of that, and the reason why we have so much tourism this way as well. So I think it's, our job to protect it. But I think the more voices that we can represent and more voices that we can, people we can educate and get heard out there is what we're trying to push for. So we will be having actually in-district meetings with several of the Republican congressional members in hopes to sway them to sign on to this letter, and hopefully they can get other Republican members in both houses to, sign on and to also hopefully be an advocate. And we do, again, have the expansion, not in just California, but again, it's over in the Atlantic Ocean and in the Arctic area off of Alaska. So I'm sure if there's some kind of coalition building amongst members, that's something that we could definitely, push forward. So we're trying to get as many voices heard as possible for this.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, well, you mentioned earlier, this is something that we have already decided as a state that we're not going forward with and we're against, and it's like it was already kind of a done issue, and now you're saying they're trying to sort of reintroduce it. So I was hoping maybe you could kind of talk. I live in Nevada, so I'm not as super clear on what California has already done in terms of offshore drilling, and Mike is probably more to speed on it than I am. But what I'm getting at is it sounds like this new proposal that you're writing a letter against is in violation of already pre-standing laws. Am I understanding that correctly?
Correct. There is state law and then there's federal law, and so right now California state law is prohibiting that expanded drilling, and we own so much of the ocean off the coast of California. I believe it's up to about 3 miles. So from there, the water becomes no man's land, and that is where federal law is taking over and wanting to expand more into our coast and put more rigs up in the areas that we already have some. So it essentially is, states' rights against the federal law, and we are seeing that possibly from what Attorney General Becerra may have stated, possibly filing, a lawsuit against government in regards to violating our rights as a state.
Well, Republicans yell state rights all the time. It's about time we did too.
Exactly.
Well, and sounds like an actual, legitimate, true states' rights issue, not just some, dog whistle for some racist garbage that the Republicans. So,
well, I read an article years ago I don't know if that long ago, but I read an article in Rolling Stone about how we auction off parcels of the ocean in the Gulf Coast to oil companies to drill on, and how that's like the biggest income that our government has, is auctioning off these parcels of ocean and stuff. Right. And so now they want to increase that. They want to go all the way up to the Arctic. I mean, how can you pull that off? Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I can see. I've heard of what is that? Cook's Corner, Cook's Inlet.
Yeah, Cook's Inlet off of Alaska. Mhm.
Yeah, I've heard. I know that they have drilling up there, and you saw what happened in the Gulf Coast with the oil rig that blew up. I can't think of the name right offhand. That leaked in there for what, months.
Right.
That's never good. It's like she said. It doesn't. It's completely damaged. There's no cleaning it up. You can't suck the oil up. You can't wash it out with Dawn. It doesn't go away. It's permanently damaged. So
Exactly. And there's, marine life that's at stake that will never come back. There's ecosystems that are destroyed from there. There's whole industries that rely on those fisheries and hatcheries to be there. And if you don't have them there, then, that's a whole economy, a whole town, a whole, city that may suffer from that, those economic impacts. So it really is, a full circle. It's not just people who directly live, on the coastal, but, people who live in inland parts of California still reap the benefits of the coastal economy that it brings to California as a state. So.
Well, and at a time when our oceans are finally coming back to health, we're seeing an increase in shark sightings, obviously, over this last summer.
That's very true.
And that's because our oceans are getting healthy again. That's why the sharks are back. They're preying on the juvenile fish and the stingrays. They're close to the shore, so.
Absolutely, and there was a lot of work that was done in the prior administrations that supported that to happen. So if we start going backwards, we're going to start seeing the damages of that. So
right. Well,
I should continue to protect.
We've seen how this administration now just loves to dismantle anything the previous administration did.
Yes.
So.
Well, that's what I would say is, LeShea, I'm an anarchist, so I'm not generally too keen on the idea of like talking to politicians and trying to get them to do things for me. But this is still so important because one, let's say, I don't want to be, the big downer guy here, but I'm not confident that they're going to honor this letter. But I am so supportive that it should be sent to them and they should be confronted with it. So at the very, very, worst case scenario, we can say, look at what you didn't do. Look at your inaction. Look, this is a way of getting people, again, aware that each win against multinational corporations and the military industrial complex, all these different things, they're only temporary wins. They go back to work the next day. And this is proof of that California has won strides and has been able to put a halt on offshore drilling but they didn't go home and go, oh, well, we lost. Oh, well, California, I guess we can't ever do that. No, they just revamped their plans, went to work, put their billions of dollars behind it, and here they are. And of course, we have to say to them and to as many people as we can that this is just a massive travesty and an injustice. And it's a complete violation of what the people of California want, let alone the rest of the country and the planet that will ultimately be affected by the adverse effects of what they're doing, which has a repeated and unbroken history of spills and mistakes. There was another spill, and I was racking my brain while you were talking about it, but it was literally this week, and I want to say it was in South America, but there was a barge.
There was. I saw that, and I was just, it was horrible. Just looking at the oil just washing up on the beach.
And it's just spilling out. There's no cap on it. It's just every bit of oil that's in that tanker is gone. So this is a repeated. The Keystone Pipeline is leaking. It's leaking. It's already leaking. So, this is going to do that. I guess that's kind of, again, I want to double down on being the downer, but this is going to have terrible effects on our environment. Allowing this to happen, it's not a will it, and it could and might, maybe. It will. We've already
seen it. We've already seen it happen.
Right. And so, to be able to offer up a little bit of an extra boost to what you're doing is, for me, a privilege and an honor because it's so important. And this is just another aspect of the full frontal assault of a fascist regime in power. And I'm again, an anarchist, and I believe in diversity of tactics. And that's why I support what you're doing and wanting to give voice to what you're doing, because you're on the forefront of yet another fight. We have so many of them. It's just a myriad of fights that we have to, take on in 2017, on the LGBT LGBTQ front, on the immigration front, the issues with DACA, with the environment, alt-right rising up, health care, all of this stuff. And so, you're taking a lead, and your group is taking a lead on environment, and I appreciate that you're doing it. So I'm really honored to be able to support and endorse what you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And that's the one thing I just enjoy doing, is not just focusing on the elected officials, but really getting that grassroots, really educating the community, really bringing it to their attention, and really showing that there's so much energy right now for so many people to do so much. So many people want to do action. So many people want to do something. So I like being able to not just educate, but give them an outlet to place that action and go, well, here's something you can sign on to, here's something you can support, and have your voice heard at a bigger level as well. So that's something I just appreciate.
And the environment is something we all need to care about, and I think the ocean is something that anybody in California should definitely care about.
Absolutely. I want to tell you, LeShea, that I'm not exactly sure which part of California you specifically are based in, and you don't have to tell us, but all throughout the nation, starting November 4th, there's a major call to take it to the streets and stay in the streets until literally the entire regime and all of this is gone. Not impeachment, the whole thing. All of the, just the racism and the institutional racism that's infested our prison system, that allows these multinational corporations to exploit people and murder people all over the world. We're going and we're getting in the streets. I just want to invite you and your group to join us and have a voice and tell us all about what you're doing there once we're there on November 4th. And because this is, you hopefully will be successful in this task by then. It's a couple months away, but I'm sure there will be other environmental issues that your group would be willing to address. And just find it. You'll see it starting November 4th. Get out there and you'll find them wherever city you're in. There's going to be a demonstration, and you and your group are definitely welcome to join us there.
Thank you so much. We look forward.
So yeah, just look at, actually it's refusefascism.org that's making that call. So if our listeners or you yourself, LeShea, would like to look into them a little bit more, you can, and look into more on the November 4th call. But I really appreciate you coming on, LeShea. And if I would like to give you an opportunity that you would like to say about the letter, or just whatever, your group, or actually we need to know how to get a hold of you, don't we? Yes, you do. I actually have my email, which would probably be the best and fastest way to get a hold of me. It is L Rodriguez, that's RODRIGUEZ, at environmentcalifornia.org. You can send me an email for more information or a request to speak somewhere. I also have my cell phone number, and I'd be happy. That's 213-262-8798. Shoot me a text or give me a call, and I'm there to answer. I'm on it. Excellent. And then Environment California has a webpage too. Is it just environmentcalifornia.org? Yes, it is. And you can see all the numerous campaigns that we have going on. We have tons of sign-on letters on our website, as well as contact local elected officials in case you want to call in yourself and express your opinion. I mean, as many voices that we can get individually, or groups who want to call in and send a letter, absolutely, we want to go ahead and encourage that. And we also have a physical sign-in letter that I love to share. It's at my email, or you can definitely give me a call and I can send it over. And do you have a place where different organizations or individuals can go and sort of officially endorse add their names to the letter? Oh, absolutely. I'm actually on Facebook. It's just LeShea Rodriguez, and I'm public, so you just Google me, and you can definitely find it on there. I have it, an actual form on there for you. Excellent. Well, LeShea, I really, really appreciate you coming on. And listen, stay in contact with Redlands for Progressive Change and Mike over there, my partner in Punks for Progress, on any developments with this. And hopefully we can have you come on and celebrate your triumphant defeat. Awesome. That would be ours. It's a group effort. Yes. Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to get out the word. Thanks, appreciate it. Thank you, LeShea. Find them at environmentcalifornia.org. And again, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you.